when you get behind the joke that I just made about we accept them all in the Quakers, what actually happens is that when you have a sense of being held in a spiritual context, being held not just as an individual ego walking about on legs, but as a soul that is held by a wider interconnection that is the divine.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the glue that holds all of that together is life as love made manifest.
Yeah.
When you have that, you're constantly being called back to a higher purpose.
Yeah.
So, if you are UKIP and racist with it, although some UKIP would say they're not racist, but let's say if you are racist, or if you are working for an arms company and you come along to the Quakers, we'll say, well, welcome, come and sit with us and see where that takes you. If you're disruptive, then we'll have to ask you to, well, you will be eldered. One of the elders will speak to you about it.
Eldered.
But all the time,
Yeah.
you will be pulled back to the spiritual centre. What are you valuing? What are you serving here? What does it serve? Does it give life?
Yeah.
How does it speak unto the least of these?
Yeah.
Jesus' words, and as much as you did it unto the least of these, you did it unto me.
Yeah.
I was hungry and you fed me. I was thirsty and you watered me. I was sick and you treated me. I was in prison and you visited me. Inasmuch as you did it unto the least of these, you did it unto me. So when I hear conservative evangelicals saying gays are the vermin of the earth, I say to them, oh good, the least of these.
Yeah.
And, it kind of confounds them a bit.
Of course.
And, every time I get a conservative evangelical minister bang on about the gays, I just say very quietly, well, of course, we have a lot of them in the Quakers.
Yeah.
They say, what do you mean? And I say, well, yes, because, they are human beings who have felt rejected by other churches, and we make them welcome. We take in the least of these.
Mm-mm.
And they go very quiet.
Yeah, what?
They go very quiet.
I did a debate the other day. I didn't realise it was a debate until I turned up on the radio show. I thought it was just an interview, but it was a debate with Pastor Joe, who was really evangelical and homophobic. He said all kinds of things. One of my favourites was that we spread homosexuality through injecting pheromones into chicken burgers. I know. So bizarre. I'll send you it. It was really funny.
Don't bother. I've got better things to do with my time.
Exactly. It was awful.
But, I think, that's bringing us to a really important issue, which is that to the conservative evangelicals, the Old Testament or the Hebrew Bible and St. Paul appear to condemn homosexuality. You can also find things in it that suggest things going on, like, David loved Jonathan like he loved a woman.
Yeah.
That kind of dynamic.
Yeah.
But on the surface of it, there appears to be this appears to be classified as fornication and outlawed. So, where do we go with that one? One way of going with it was saying, well, the Bible is full of all kinds of crazy injunctions.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to eat shellfish. You're not allowed to wear a fabric that's made of two different kinds of fibre or whatever. There's all, I mean, you're Jewish, all the hundreds of thousands of laws that old Torah is meant to improve. So one approach is to say, well, we'll pick and mix, we'll just leave it. Another approach is to say, well, fair enough, that's all there. But the Bible is a dynamic thing. Within the Jewish tradition, you see this progressive unfolding with the later prophets, who more and more, they kind of shift from the militarism of Joshua or Moses against the Midianites. Mm-hmm. And then they shift progressively until you've got Micah and Isaiah, I think it is, saying, we shall beat our swords, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares,
Yeah.
and they shall learn war no more.
Yeah.
So you've got a trajectory because it's a historically unfolding faith.
Yeah.
And then you come into the Christian thing, and not once in the four Gospels does Jesus condemn the gays. Not once. In fact, when he heals the Roman centurion's servant, so the Roman centurion has a servant who is very sick, and we're told that the centurion much loved his servant. And he sent for Jesus to come and heal him. And then he sent another message saying I forget the story exactly, but I think he sent another message saying it was too late, don't waste your time. And Jesus says, your faith is greater than all the rest in Israel.
Wow. Yeah.
Your faith is great. Although he was a Roman soldier, he had such faith that Jesus would help his servant, that he raises him. But what's really interesting from a gay point of view is that the Greek word used for servant could very easily mean, or can in certain contexts mean gay lover.
What does it mean? How do you say it?
I don't have the Greek in front of me, but
Yeah.
if you just Google
Yeah.
Jesus Roman centurion servant homosexual,
Yeah.
you'll get it all come up chapter and verse, and the Greek as well. So if anything, you have a sort of slight leaning in that direction.
Yeah.
In terms of an acceptance of the human being as the person is, because that's what Jesus was on about the whole time.
Of course.
Was deeply accepting people as they were, whether they were tax collectors, or Roman soldiers who were militarizing the place, or women who were bleeding and so on. Acceptance. That is the gospel.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
the gospel. You see.
Yeah.
Now, the second really interesting point in the Christian thing is you then get the early Christians after Jesus' death in the book of Acts, chapter 15, holding the Council of Jerusalem. And what that was all about, the first Christian council, was held over the question of whether or not Gentile converts to Christianity, non-Jewish converts to Christianity, should be circumcised or not. Now, as you could imagine, in the days before anaesthetics, adult circumcision would not have been a good recruiting practice.
Yeah, exactly.
So they had a huge big hobnob, because some thought they should be circumcised, others thought they shouldn't. And what it opened out into was a review of to what extent the Old Testament, the Hebrew Bible law applied to Christians. And they decided that it should only, what were they? There were four main things. You weren't allowed to eat animals killed by strangulation, which would normally be animals that had been killed for sacrifice. You weren't allowed to eat animal blood or products with animal blood, which is an old Jewish thing because of blood being contained to contain the life force. There was to be no fornication, although what fornication is left implicit. So you can play a lot with that because, is gay love when it is love fornication? Is heterosexual sex when it is without love? Is that perhaps fornication?
Yeah.
And what was the other one? It was probably about idolatry or something like that. I've forgotten exactly. But the really interesting thing